This is a March 2nd meeting of the Historic Review Commission, and I would like to have a roll call, please. Chair is here, Mark Tannenbaum. Secretary is here. Here? Are you Vice President? Dave is here.
Here.
But I would call to everyone's attention, and we do have guests, and we do have representatives from the city. But I would call to attention that we do not have a quorum, which would be required for us to make a binding vote. And we don't want anything we do to be called up into question in the future. But what I'd like to do would be to adjourn this meeting officially and open it up as an information meeting only, and then allow our speakers to speak so that we don't have to have them come back. We'll take notes, and we'll relay that data to anybody who was absent for this conversation, and we'll be able to vote at the soonest convenience of a full quorum. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
It's the best I can do. I mean, is to find that middle ground.
You should go on record to make it official what we are saying.
Yes,
Have it recorded.
we will record it.
But you are saying that it's not on record.
No, we'll record it, but it's for information. We just can't vote on it. But we can hear it, and we can write it down, and we can relay it.
You make it, okay. Make it the official record, and then you vote if it's the year 2020 or whatever, or 2000. Okay, I want to speak.
I would like to hear you speak. Is there anyone that would, go ahead. You're fine. You're the counselor. I will absolutely make sure this solves the next time. I will go.
Later. I've been waiting for this before I go home to California.
I'll take care of it. Juli, I will take care of it.
It's okay.
I won't abandon you. I'm held up by the rules. So, is there anyone who would like to speak on an informative basis at this time, please?
I want to speak.
Julio, would you please come, state your name and where you live and the address of the properties, please? Julio Reyes.
My name is Julio Reyes. I'm a California resident, and my family and I have invested in this town since the late 80s. I prepared a speech and I want to read it, but before I do, I have to tell you, this is absolutely disgusting. Now, here we go. The addresses are the Labor Temple, 1701 to 1707 State Street, and the Manicure property, 1607 State Street. I will try to read. I'm not a good reader, but I will just bear with me and my accent. First, I want to offer my sincere thanks. Thank you to my lovely and beautiful wife, Lilia, for supporting me through all these adventures. Thank you, Dale, for the hundreds of repairs you have completed across these properties. Your craftsmanship has been essential to their preservation. And thank you, Matthew. Your research and your respect for history brought us to this moment, and your work already honors these buildings and their legacy. It was an honor to stand here, but now I'm really pissed off. After so many years of work in this community, I still remember arriving to Erie to the train station in the middle of a foggy night in the winter. When I stepped in, I felt like I was stepping in another dimension. carrying only my determination and the belief that this city held promise and it needed help. Over the years, my family and I found opportunities to restore and improve the properties we secured, including some later lost to eminent domain. Unfortunately, history has recorded its share of poor leadership in Erie, and this meeting proves it. But we also found the people who gave us meaning to the work, friends, clients, employees, and partners, strengthened our resolve and helped create jobs that supported Erie growth, even through difficult periods. As an immigrant business owners and investors, our family rescued and repurposed several structures across the city. The Manacor and the Labor Temple are the jewels of the crown, built by immigrants like us, shaped by the hopes and labor of those who came before. Knowing these buildings will now be preserved for history is one of the greatest rewards, but perhaps not, won't be quorum, and they won't be elected into the historical record. Our plans evolve over time, but the dreams that brought us here remain alive. None of this would have been possible without our employees and the contractors, the good ones, not the crooked ones, who helped us our standards and protected our family assets through their dedication and professionalism. We're also building a bridge to the future. We will continue developing and repurposing our properties with exciting projects like the chapel on the 3rd floor. Lee? Working with people such as Edward in the 1st floor, and so many other talented local partners. Together, we honor the past while bringing innovation where it is possible and appropriate. These investments have always been a family effort. They reflect our values, craftsmanship, history, preservation, and the dignity of human labor. What we have built and what we have saved now belongs to the historical record in Erie. Thank you.
Julio, if you would like to, I would make a copy of that speech and I would include it into the official minutes if you choose to do so. Just if you give it to Matthew, I'll make a copy of it.
I put some nasty comments that were not in the original one, and,
Okay.
because if they were needed.
I understand. But we'll make sure that I want to make sure that you know that we're going to put your true meaning into the minutes of this informational session. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? Edward, could you please address the body? State your name and address, please.
Hi there. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Edward Kranz. I am a traditional hand bookbinder and book restorer. Since I've come back to Erie, yes, I'm a boomerang kid. I was on the West Coast for close to 30 years, and situations came around where I brought my family back to Erie for my son to go to high school, and he's now at Penn State Behrend. For my bindery studio, I struggled for a few years to find the right home. I tried several places, including PACA, which is a wonderful facility. It just wasn't right for my bindery. I've now found a home at the Erie Labor Temple, and what I am doing there right now is I'm forming an LLC called Erie Labor Temple, or actually I think it's going to be Erie Labor Works because the Labor Temple already exists, LLC, and I am going to activate the ground floor with my bookbindery, which is following in a legacy of unionized bookbinders that used to be represented in that building, along with many other trades. I'm also going to have a design firm there, a creative firm called Fikaki Creative Works. And we're going to put in a Creative Commons reading room, and essentially it's going to be an antiquarian bookshop. So we plan on activating the entire ground floor. Oh, we're also going to have a metalsmith artist, Sharon Smith Metal Arts, in the lower, bringing yet another trade to the building. In time, working with Julio, I plan on activating the second floor renting out the various rooms as studios and event spaces. And then the third floor, once his, I think he's calling it a chapel, I've been referring to it as the Great Hall. Once it is ready, it's going to be available to the public as a event center, so people can rent it out, but it's also going to be the Union Fine Art Gallery, a curated space where I'm going to bring in curators from around the nation and hopefully around the world to curate a different show every quarter. So the building is going to continue its legacy of trades and crafts and work. Matter of fact, our tagline is going to be "Art Works Here." So I appreciate you guys listening to us. I hope when you do have the vote, both the Manticore and the Erie Labor Temple are brought into the fold. And have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course. And I would just say to the general board that I have been in both of those buildings. I believe my prom was in the Manticore Club. Certainly one of my reunions was definitely there. And I've been in the Labor Temple, and I've been to that open space on the third floor. So I am well aware of the beauty and versatility of both of those buildings. And being personally involved in a building on that row, I'm thrilled to see more activity and more growth and more opportunity, let's just say, south of the bridge. And I'm happy to be supportive of all of everything that everybody has said. Come on up, sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Just please state your name for the record.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dale Peters.
Hi, Dale.
I work for Julio, and I've worked on these buildings for, gosh, how many years, Julio? Since, 10 years. When he took the Manticore over, it was, I walked in there and it was a mess. I mean, it was bad. It seemed like they just walked out and left everything. I mean, the computers were running, there was drinks on the bars and food, and they just walked out and just left it, abandoned it. And I looked around. I'd never been in that building before, and I looked around and I went upstairs, seen the ballroom. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, it was breathtaking to me to see the ballroom upstairs. And I've worked on that building now for 4 or 5 years since Julio got it, I think 4 years ago or whatever it was. And I've been working on that building and doing plaster work and all kinds of things. I know that building like the back of my hand. I've been inside the walls, and I've been in everywhere, in the attic. And what a building. I mean, it's really built well, and it'll probably last for my lifetime and beyond, I would love to see it in the Historical Society. That would be great. In the Labor Temple, as far as that goes, I've been in that Labor Temple. My sister was the office manager for the Labor's Union, and she retired from there. And I've been in that building. I know that building too. I've worked on that building. And I just took the ceiling down in the Union Hall upstairs on the, third floor? And exposed the ceiling. I mean, there's plasters falling down and needs a lot of repair, but what a beautiful ceiling that would be if it's fixed up nice. It would be gorgeous. To bring it back to the original state that it was in years ago would really be something. I've been in every room. I've fixed ceilings and done all kinds of work for Julio in those buildings. And I've never seen anybody really want to have old buildings like that restored to be used again like Julio does. He really puts an effort into trying to keep those buildings up. And I know a lot of history because my sister worked there, like I said, in the Labor's Temple for years. So I know a lot of history about that building. She told me a lot of history about it, and it would be great to have that on the national, register too. That would be a beautiful building, and it needs to be kept. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. And just as a point of order, it's not we're not doing the national one, which is different. This is just the city of Erie. And I'm not, just calling a point of order. Yes, Kathy, can I?
One moment, just a procedural thing for a moment.
We have heard from Commissioner Craig Pepper, who's able to join us over the phone, which would mean that we would have quorum. So it would be up to the chair to reopen the meeting and then to continue on with official business, which would give us an opportunity to present my staff findings for the nominations. We can also read into the record, for those of you that have provided testimony for the commissioner that was not able to join us for this part of the briefing, if that's amenable to all of you, so that we would be able to make have a quorum, have an official record, have an official vote, and move things forward today. My apologies.
And I think they're calling, so Kathy, why don't you speak while we get this together, if that's okay with you, point of order wise? Let's listen to Kathy, if that's all right, and then we'll reopen, or how do you want to do this?
No, let's.
Okay, whatever you say.
Right, so,
Well, if you reopen, then you have public comment at the beginning?
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just speak at the public comment.
thank you.
Yes. I just didn't want you to get stretched out longer than you have to. I can call her. Well, let's try one more time.
Your call has been forwarded.
How about we have Kathy speak while you nail this down, if you don't mind? Okay. This is how the sausage is made. Winston Churchill. Kathy, why don't you speak while we're trying to get, I don't want to waste your time either. I know you're very busy as well. And thank you for coming, and thank you for being our liaison.
I am I'm actually, I think, a part of the team, but not the head liaison this year. But
Thank you.
a team is a team. So
That's right.
I always have loved historic buildings. I've been up on this podium talking about my vision is actually to have buildings from lower state all the way up as far as we can go with historic designations, because the Manticore certainly is one of them. The Labor Building is another. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I had been in the Manticore Club on many occasions. My prom was there, and, for teens, that's like a major event.
It was like Hollywood.
Right. And my husband's grandfather, Herman Tellers, he was born in 1904, and he was a very visible, active member of the Manticore. So as a family, the Schaffs, they had memberships. I have never had a membership, but we definitely got our chance to be in there for weddings and funerals and showers.
Bowling.
And it's a gorgeous building. I know Julio has a great interest in buildings as well. I met Julio in the late 1990s, early 2000s. We used to dance in the Latinos on Parade Street there. And I love that place because you walk in there too and you're stepping back in time for sure.
Yeah.
And so I support your agenda today full-heartedly. And I want to thank you for your service because I don't know if people realize that you're not being paid for this, and it's your own dedication and love of history. So I understand things happen. People get sick, what have you, and they can't come to a meeting, what have you. But we do need to get a few appointees on there to refill. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much.
And that's kind of out of our hands as well. Craig is on. If we could include Craig now on the, you're fine, Craig. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Mark saying thank you for joining us. So it's a pleasure. If we could include Craig now in the roll call so that we can, and then we'll, and what I would like to do then is officially make a motion to reopen and convene the Historic Review Commission in full power and capacity. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. David has the second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Jean, are you in favor?
Jean, are you in favor of reopening the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. May I state for the record now that we have
Waiting for other
a
people to
quorum,
say aye.
and we have all 4 members ready to vote. I could make a motion at this time, or I could do whatever you say is officially the right thing to do.
Now, are we voting on something right now?
Well,
Craig, let's hold on one tiny second. Let's hear what Matthew has to say.
let's stick to our agenda and
Stick
work
to the
through
agenda. All right.
public comment and then approval of past meeting minutes.
Let's
So-
work on that. So if I can open with an approval of the past minutes. Everybody was sent the past minutes. Are we willing to agree to the past minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the past meeting minutes.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the past minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Craig. I heard you. We have the COA, the COA report. There is none today. We have any public correspondence other than the speakers that we spoke?
No.
No. So if I could rise that up to new business, please. So we have a hearing and action on historic nominations of the former Manacor Club at 1607 State Street, Erie, Pennsylvania, 16501, as well as the former Labor Temple at 1701 State Street. That's actually the picture that had the tower still on it. I believe the Manacor was built in 1889, if I'm not mistaken. So it's PACA, of course, a building close to me, the Meyer building, was 1899. This is 10 years sooner than us. And so we'd like to have Matthew speak, if you don't mind, please.
Thank you.
Matthew Falcone, please.
Yes, commissioners, thank you.
Thank you.
We have before us a nomination for the former Manacor building. I will go through several slides so we can see exactly where we are. So this, of course, is the process for designation. Today, we are considering the determination of reasonable cause. And if you so choose, you're also able to vote to make a recommendation to City Council. We do have time scheduled before the Planning Commission in 2 weeks to present this application as well. The Manacor is located at 1607 State Street And to overlay it on a neighborhood map, it sits within the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network. They were notified of this nomination and conveyed that they support its designation. Here you'll see a site map of the Mentor Corps, as well as an overlapping kind of bubbles where each of the different photos for the nomination were taken. So in addition to the structure, it incorporates the entirety of the city block. So what you'll see before you is the primary facade of the building as it fronts on State Street. Several images of the detail of the primary facade. So you have on left a cornerstone of the building when it was remodeled in 1935. You'll also see a decorative terracotta ornamentation. Here you'll see a side view of the building as well as the building's rear. And we need to, of course, delve into the building's history a bit. The Mentor Corps Society was founded in December 12th of 1871, and shortly thereafter, the Women's Auxiliary was founded. Like many clubs of this time, there were exclusions, of course, made for women to be active members of the club itself, and auxiliaries were a common feature so that they could continue participation without participating in the governance of the club.
Or else nothing would get done.
The club was officially incorporated in 1889, which was also the year that this building was constructed. Now, because it has played such a prominent role within the community, there have been several iterations of this building over time. And the first major renovation occurred in 1935. Again, another major renovation in 1946, and then a third in 1970. 1971, there was a 100th anniversary celebration printed, which provided a good source of information for this nomination. And then in September of 2018, the building was acquired by its current owner. So this building is significant for several different reasons. It is significant for criteria A, because it is associated with events that have made a significant contribution to broad patterns of Erie's history. In this case, the Mentor Corps meets this criterion because it is associated with Erie's German immigrant community. What is particularly interesting is that many of the documents that were available in historical records about the Mentor Corps Club were all in German. And that was a feature that was carried on through the 1940s. And when you get into the nomination itself, you'll understand what a difficult position the German community was in here in Erie during the First and Second World Wars. But this club still provided an opportunity for members of the German community to come together, to sing, to drink, and to be with one another in a way that felt like home. This also, I believe, meets the criteria for or criterion C, which is that it embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction, or that it represents the work of a master, possesses high artistic value, and represents a significantly distinguishable entity whose components may lack individual distinction. So this building, as it was both originally constructed and as we have it today, is a reflection of what is called the Rundbogenstil, which is the rounded arch style in German. What's particularly notable here is that these features of the facade, particularly the arched openings of the windows, the kind of engaged arches of the side of the building, are all indicative of this style. And it is something that has its ties back to German roots, and something that was very typically seen in Germany throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. So what we would, I think, consider now as kind of Romanesque revival very much had a connection back to a German style of architecture, which was appropriate considering the founders of this organization and the purpose of the building. It has changed over time, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, but I will also say that this building also meets criteria F, that exhibit a unique location or distinctive physical appearance or presence representing an established and familiar visual feature of a neighborhood community or of Erie. the Menor Core is, quite simply put, iconic. It is difficult to not notice the building in driving down State Street, in part because of its distinctive formal style of architecture, but also because the building now stands alone. It is the sole occupant of this city block, which adds to its prominence in height and design. Now, this slide, it talks about the integrity of the building, and this is where we get to see all of its different iterations and what we mentioned before of it changing over time. So the changes in architecture, and you'll see here, I don't think you can see my cool cat laser point on the television, but in the first slide, which is on the upper left, is the original design of the building. Then the renovations that were done in 1935, you'll see in the upper right. Now, those renovations were primarily centered on the first floor. And so instead of having 3 rounded arch openings, there's now 1 consolidated opening with 3 doors, several windows, and then coin stonework that was added to the sides. In the 1940s, the building was streamlined, and so the towers that were on the left and right, framing the pediment, were removed. And then in the 1970s, the fenestration on the first floor was changed from multi-pane windows to glass block. So over time, the building has changed, but what's important to keep in mind is that these changes were a reflection of the desires of the Menor Core itself. And so as the club continued to modernize and continued to participate in kind of broader society here in Erie, the changes to the building reflected the desires of the club. And so it may not look exactly like it did when it was first constructed, but looking at it through the lens of it is a reflection of the desires of that community, it has a very high degree of integrity. We're fortunate enough that the owner was permissive to show some photos of the interior, and although I know it is not part of what we consider or what is protected when something's listed on the city registry, we couldn't not show it because much of the building's just detailing and the craftsmanship and workmanship that is inherent in historic integrity is best seen in the interior. So what you'll see here on the left-hand side is an image of the ballroom in the upper floor, the stained glass window that is central to the ceiling in the ballroom. You'll also see here on the left an image of, or partial image of the bar in that same room. And then just above it, there's a balcony as well. And then you have to keep in mind that this was inherently a singing society. And so the stage and the curtains that are part of this ballroom would have very much been used for singing performances. And what we see in the log meeting minutes of the organization was that they were there was always something going on. And then finally, this image on the right-hand side is another bar in the building. You'll see that it says Gemütlichkeit, which is translates roughly as kind of friendliness. I will point out to all of you with us today that this building was part of our citywide architectural survey that was finished in 2025. The recommendations of that survey are outlined in red, and that is that this resource is recommended for National Historic Place listing under criteria A for its association with Erie's German immigrant community, and under criterion C as an example of late 19th century Beaux-Arts-inspired architecture in Trinity Park. Sorry, I know we do have some background disturbance. But all this is to say is that both Julio, who is with us today, and the Reyes family has been wonderfully supportive of this nomination and have been very generous in supplying us with information related to the building's history, as well as you've heard earlier today, their overall support and upkeep of what is nothing short of an architectural and cultural gem here in the city. So again, before you today, that picture is of the renovations that happened in 1935 and the relaying of the cornerstone. But what is before the commission is that you must today consider a determination of reasonable cause. So whether or not there is enough history, there is enough connection to the areas of significance that were listed before and historic integrity in order to move the nomination forward. I have provided you with language that would do just that, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about the nomination.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Matthew, please?
I just had one quick question. Doesn't have really anything to do with the significance, but so there's 3 owners? It was the original club, and then became another type of club, or not?
No, it's there's only been 2 owners.
2 owners, okay.
The club was the founder, the constructor, the renovator, and when it was sold to Julio Reyes here in 2018,
Got it.
he is the second owner.
Cherry sale 2018.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Anybody in the audience that would like to?
Yeah, just a moment, Commissioner.
Craig, does Craig have a question?
No, she's ready to make a vote on the motion before us.
I would like to, does anybody have a motion to give other than myself, or I can do it?
I can make the motion.
Let's make the motion.
Based on everything that's been presented, Matthew, the building.
I'm sorry, do we have a question from the council?
It's just as a procedural matter.
Yes, sir.
This is depending what you guys want to do.
Okay.
It's only like evidence or testimony that's technically part of the official meeting is what Matthew has presented.
That's fine.
So I think what you can do is you can probably make a motion to incorporate what you heard from Mr. Reyes, and I'm sorry, I don't know the other two
Ed
gentlemen's
and
names,
Dale.
and
Kathy.
make that motion first to incorporate that in.
Yes.
Or you can just do a straight vote on what.
I would like to include them if that's possible, Counselor. Is that all right?
So I think you need to do that vote first.
Okay.
And then say we're going to incorporate it, vote yes or no, and then vote on the actual thing, and then incorporate everything they've said, the letter Mr. Reyes has submitted,
Yes.
and Matthew's presentation.
Yes.
Just to make it cleaner.
Thank you.
I'm asking you to do that.
I would like to then make a motion that we include previous testimony from Julio, from Ed, from Dale, and from Kathy, and particularly Julio's written statements into the official record. Does anybody have a second to that, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And, yes, sir,
One moment so I can ensure that Commissioner Craig is fully briefed.
I understand. Okay, we're going, first, there's 2 votes here. So let's, if we can call for that vote now, please. All those in favor?
Why
Aye.
don't you call me back and I'll vote?
No, no, no.
No.
Stay online.
The vote before you, we would need you to stay with us and also to vote on the motion.
All those in favor of accepting the previous testimony as part of the official record, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone saying no, nay?
We got you.
Then this passes. Everything that was previously stated orally and in writing is now part of the official record along with Matthew's presentation. So now, if you wouldn't mind, please, David.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Manicourt Club for recommendation to City Council.
Before a recommendation to City Council is made, we must first
Reasonable
determine
cause.
reasonable cause.
Yeah.
Okay. We've heard reasonable cause to for this recommendation to move forward, so I make a motion for this current.
If I may, I would like to second that, please. Any conversation before we vote? If I can call the vote, all those in favor of the determination of reasonable cause, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. There are none. It is unanimously passed.
If it is the desire of the commission, you are able to also vote on a recommendation to council. It would,
Love this
again,
picture.
provide you with some suggested language on that motion.
So would someone like to make a motion for this? I would,
I can make a motion.
please. So the recommendation to council, that's the second phase of this. That's correct. So
I move we provide a positive recommendation to City Council that the former Erie Manor Club
And-
Manor building be listed on the City of Erie's Register of Historic Places as it conveys historic significance through criteria E, C, and F, and maintains sufficient historic integrity.
I would second that motion, please. I'd like, any discussion? I'd like to call the vote, please. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? It passes unanimously.
All right, if you'll give me one moment to switch the presentation over to the Labor Temple. I'll be
I was going to
right
say, we
back.
still have to do the Labor Temple.
Yes.
If you don't mind. So Craig, please stay on the line. We have another presentation about the Labor Temple, please. We split these. It's fine. Truthfully, we want this done correctly, if you don't mind.
On your end, because there's a lot of noise. Thanks.
Well, she needs that
Thank
vote.
you.
We need to hear a vote. I get you. I understand.
Commissioners, so we'll move.
Matthew, could you please present for the Labor Temple, please?
Yes, we'll move down the street slightly and talk about the Erie Labor Temple. So again, as part of this process, we're here today first to determine if there is reasonable cause for this to be considered a historic landmark. And then you, as a commission, are able to make a recommendation to council if you so choose.
Thank you.
So the Erie Labor Temple is located at 1701 to 1707 on State Street. As this is slightly further south than the Menor Corps, you'll see here that it sits within the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network as well as the Central City Neighborhood Watch. Both organizations were informed of this nomination. Both provided support and are excited to see this move forward as an historic landmark within the city of Erie. Here you'll see, again, a site map, which shows the location of the Labor Temple that's bounded in red, as well as all those little dots that connect back to photos that are present within the nomination. And here you'll see the primary and secondary facade of the Labor Temple. What's important to note, and I know it can be a little confusing because there are so many different addresses that are associated with this building. The Labor Temple itself is this large 3-story red brick building on the left-hand side, as well as the smaller 2-story red brick building to the left with the green awning, and then the one next to it without a green awning. We'll talk a little bit about the site's evolution as we go through this presentation. So you'll see before you a picture of the secondary facade in the center, as well as a detail that shows the Ironworkers logo in the transom window, as well as the rear of the building. And then you'll see the primary facades of 1705 and 1707 State Street. Right, so this has an exceedingly long history, partly because the importance of this building lies not just within its architectural style, but its connection back to organized labor here within the city of Erie. The entity that is responsible for constructing the Labor Temple is the Central Labor Union, which was founded in the early 1890s. So the Central Labor Union should be considered an umbrella organization that was composed of many different locals and many different unions, so that they would all be able to speak with one voice. So when it was founded in the 1890s, it was just over a dozen different organizations and would continue to expand over the course of its history into dozens and dozens of different labor organizations. They originally had a home at 8th and State Street downtown, and it quickly could not meet their needs. So each different organization, each different either local or union would send representatives to sit on the Central Labor Union's body. And so you had bookbinders and iron workers and bakers, all of these different trades and tradespeople who were contributing to this kind of larger organization. Because they had outgrown their place on 8th and State Street, they purchased land on 12th and French with the anticipation of buying or constructing a new building to suit the growing needs of the organization. In 1912 to 1914, the Mulders strike here in Erie fundamentally changed the nature not only of the CLU, but organized labor here within the city. For years on end, there were strikes, boycotts, pickets.
Explosions.
Yes. It turned everything on its head in terms of organized labor. During that period of time, for the first time in Erie's history, some quote-unquote union men were first elected to city council. Unfortunately, at the end of 1914, there was a judge's verdict that ruled against the strikers, and that officials from the state used as an opportunity to come in and suppress the strike. Because of the nature of that and its brutalness, public opinion quickly changed in favor of unions and of organized labor. And what we see from that point in time is what was a gradual engagement of organized labor and of unions and locals quickly expanded. And not only within the CLU, but here on city council and with the other elected officials and part of our civic life, organized labor became a larger and larger part of who we are as Erieites. In 1914, they decided to then sell the land at 12th and French Street because they found that it was not only unsuitable for the number of people involved with the organization, but also because they wanted to find a more centralized home. In 1923, they found that home there's a typo in that, but at 17th and State Street, which is the current home of the Erie Labor Temple. It's not a coincidence that this new home was located directly next to the Menor Corps. What you'll see in that central newspaper clipping is actually an image of the interior of the Menor Corps. It's of the ballroom. And what's happening in this picture is that it's a labor carnival that was being held in the Menor Corps to help raise funds for building the Labor Temple next door. Now, if you delve deep into German history and organized labor history, which we were fortunate enough to do because these two nominations came to us at the same time, you'll see that those organizations and those were kind of inextricably connected to one another, that a large part of kind of the early labor union population was German in origin. And so this connectivity between labor unions, the Menor Corps, and German immigrants is really what helped to center the Erie Labor Temple at 17th and State, so close to the Menor Corps. We talked a little bit in the previous slides of the pictures of each of the different components of the building. In the 1950s, the CLU purchased 1705 and 1707 and integrated those buildings into 1701 and 1703, which is that the 3-story large brick Italianate building. So even though from the outside they read as separate entities and separate buildings, when you enter the Labor Temple, you're able to access those other buildings on the second floor, and there are union offices and kind of individual offices that are all connected to one another in that second floor. In 1954, the parking lot that is behind the building was incorporated into the lot, and then in 2013, the building was acquired by its current owner. So for significance, this building meets criteria A, its association with events that have made significant contributions to the broad patterns of Erie history, in that it is directly associated with Erie's organized labor community. It is also embodies distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction. In this case, it is because the Erie Labor Temple is an excellent example of 20th century Italianate design in Erie's city center neighborhood. And again, I know that earlier we heard testimony today prior to the opening of business about the third floor meeting space. So again, we are very fortunate enough in that Mr. Reyes was able to share some of the interior photos of this building with us. So what you see before you is the third floor labor hall. So I know it looks a bit difficult to read, but what you're looking at here is a room that was, for most of its history, dissected. And so a drop ceiling was put in just where that white line is around it, which basically preserved everything above it. So the plaster ceiling, all the electrical fixtures was frozen in time for decades until the current restoration of the building is underway, revealing to us a really important space in Erie's history. And I know this isn't something that's necessarily publicly available or accessible to all at the moment, but it is an absolutely extraordinary place that we still have with us. Throughout the building, too, I had mentioned that there is a tremendous amount of integrity when it comes to materials and design and workmanship, and that is conveyed in a lot of the interior spaces. It can be a bit confusing at times because the layout has so many different offices that are operated almost as kind of independent areas of the building. You'll see kind of walk-up windows where people would get work assignments. It is very important to keep in mind that although this is one large umbrella organization, the Central Labor Union, each of those different locals had offices in this space. And the third floor that we just saw was communal space where decisions were made, where lectures were heard, where speakers were invited to talk to all of the different unions. But on the second floor, where all of these different offices were, it is a bit of a warren because there were, again, dozens and dozens of different locals and unions operating out of this building. This building as well was part of our architectural survey that was done in 2025. The recommendation of that survey was that this resource is recommended for listing on the National Register of Historic Places under criterion C because it is an example of early 20th century commercial storefront architecture in Trinity Park. While I agree with that, I do believe that its connection back to Erie's labor history is substantial and should be considered as well. I can tell you both from working with Mr. Reyes in the Mentor Corps building and then the Reyes family with the Labor Temple that both are being submitted for consideration to the State Historic Preservation Office for listing on the National Register. And that takes us to determination of reasonable cause. What you'll see with you in this picture is an outline of the current resource, and you can see that when it was first constructed, the first floor was used for vulcanizing tires. Yeah. It was a storefront. The second floor was used for offices.
This whole section of town was all about tires and food.
Yes, and you can see
and
that
that's
on
why the Firestone tire store is there. is because it's reflective of, there were a dozen tire stores in that area. I don't know why. And food,
Indeed.
seeds.
I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about this building or any of the points that were raised either in the nomination or the presentation today.
I thank you, Matthew. If there are no questions, any questions? Thank you, Matthew. I would then call for the first of the two votes, which would be the determination of reasonable cause. Yes, sir. That's fine.
I would ask you to probably make a motion to vote to incorporate
Okay.
Mr. Reyes, Ed Dale, Kathy, as well as Mr. Reyes as a member.
Yes, please. Thank you. So if I may, absolutely, sorry to interrupt you. If I may make the motion that we include all of the testimony, both oral and written, into the official record prior to our vote. Anybody have a second to that, please?
I'll second that.
David seconds it. Is there all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It is unanimously passed. If I may now move to have a determination of reasonable cause for the labor union building on State Street. All those, is there a second? David, it's your turn. Okay.
You don't want me to make this?
Oh, please do. Yes, let's make that motion. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I'll make the motion because
Please
to make sure
do.
it's clear that
Thank
I
you.
move to determine that a reasonable cause that the former Erie Label Temple meets the qualifications to become a City of Erie historic landmark as it conveys significance under criteria B and C and holds sufficient historic integrity.
I would second that motion, please. Is there general discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Now we need to make one more recommendation.
If you are so inclined,
Yes, sir.
You are able to make a recommendation to City Council as well.
Correct. David, would you please?
Sure. Not a reading today. For the last motion, I move to provide a positive recommendation to City Council that the former Erie Labor Temple be listed on the City of Erie Register of Historic Places as it conveys historic significance through criteria B and C and maintains sufficient historic integrity.
Are there any questions or comments on this proposal at this time? I would second the motion. Sorry, let me second that. Now, are there any questions or comments, concerns, criticisms? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I'm sorry, I failed to raise the phone quickly enough to record Commissioner Pepper's
want me to do it
voice.
again?
Yes, if you
Commissioner
wouldn't
Pepper,
mind.
how do you vote?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It passes unanimously. Are there any nays? No. It passes unanimously. Both and all have now passed.
I would like to, if you wouldn't mind, just call attention to the photo that's before you.
I love this photo.
It actually has both structures in it, although one is unfortunately cut off. So,
And PACA.
You'll see, yes, it also has PACA in the distance, but it has the Menor building. This is, I believe, 1954. So through the fourth renovation of the Menor, and then also on the far right-hand side, you'll see the Erie Labor Temple, and at that time, you'll see just Central Labor, and then it was unfortunately cut off, but it was for a very long time the Central Labor Union Temple.
And a
So-
big Buick.
Indeed. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank both Julio
Yes.
and the Reyes family, who has been so kind and generous in not only allowing us to have access to these buildings and to put these nominations together, but has been tremendous supporters of Erie's history and the history that is inherent in both of these sites. We are indebted both to Julio and to the Reyeses. Thank you.
And if I may reiterate that from the chair, thank you so much for everything that you do for our community, and thank you for participating in our process and bringing your expertise and your vision to our community.
Can I say something?
Of course.
I am one of the most fortunate people in life, and I'm grateful, and I have a wonderful wife and family, and I want to leave this place better than how I found it. As I said in my statement, the initial statement, again, not without counting the nasty comments, I met wonderful people here. He has made an excellent work in all this research. He knows more about those buildings than I ever did. Dale, hundreds of repairs. I'm very pleased with you that you did everything out of your way to coordinate all this. I really want to go back home to California, and I need to settle all these problems. Now, this is only 2 of the projects that we are working on. I'm also working in the Parade Street corridor that we started cleaning 35 years ago with the Black Wall Street organization, and also in another property in Little Italy with another immigrant family. So we are committed to make this place better. But because I'm in the private industry, sometimes I lose my patience. And the only final advice is to the people that volunteer their time, they should honor their commitments in respect to other people. But I am very, very pleased in what you have done today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julio.
Thank you.
And thanks, everyone, for attending. I would now see, are there CLG project grants for the National Register nomination?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I know that we are short on time, so I'm happy to go through old business quickly and provide you updates on each of those different items. For item A, the Erie Cemetery nomination, the public hearing was heard before council, and council was able to take action. So I believe that the ordinance is working its way through council at this time, and it will be finalized shortly. So we'll have yet another historic landmark in the city of Erie.
And this partnership?
Our public schools partnership is in process. We drafted a partnership agreement and are still going back and forth, ironing out all the different components of what that agreement looks like. So I would expect that we'll have everything wrapped up just in time for early spring. I think that the hope is that during Historic Preservation Month, we're able to highlight this partnership. So May, which is hopefully just around the corner with some warm weather, should be here soon enough. And then the State Street
National?
Yes. I can say that the work that the contractors are doing on the National Register Historic District for State Street is ongoing. I know the Erie Downtown Partnership is hosting a meeting here in council chambers on Thursday morning from 8:30 until 10 o'clock. Again, to be able to answer questions from the public and then talk about some of the research and findings that have come to light through this process.
Matthew, will that be taped? Will that be a taped meeting?
I don't believe so.
Are we invited?
Everyone is invited. It's open to the public. I will
Would
confirm.
you give us a heads up, please?
Yes, I'll confirm with their executive director if they intend on taping the proceedings.
Thank you. I'd like to attend if you can.
For our CLG project grant, the City Hall National Register nomination is also very much in process. We did receive feedback from SHPO, which is being incorporated into a final draft, which will be presented before the State Historical Review Board in June.
I'm sorry, I was asking for a clarification. With the meeting on March 5th that's open to the public, that's at 8:30 a.m.?
That's right.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry, in getting confirmation of the time, I just completely missed your report on the City Hall nomination.
Okay, we did receive comments back from the State Historic Preservation Office. They're being incorporated into the final draft, which will then be presented to the State Historic Board in their June meeting, or at their June meeting. And then finally, the Keystone and CLG grant applications. We did submit a grant application for a multi-property listing of the city's firehouses on the National Register of Historic Places. We are also, as I'm sure many of you are aware, today is the day for Keystone grant applications, and we have provided a tremendous amount of letters of support from the community. There's a lot of different organizations that are pursuing these grants this year, which is wonderful. both planning and construction work, and that we too, as the city, are putting into applications that are related to this building. So good luck to all.
Thank you so much for your report. I mean, are there directors' reports in the, relative to the planning department?
I don't have any report,
Okay.
just that we've been working on the Keystone. Well, Matthew really has been working on those 2 grants for City Hall, and that has been a tremendous amount of work between departments to get that
Coordinate.
coordinate. So thank you, Matthew, and also thank you, Mr. Reyes, for coming. I'm sorry, Reyes, right? Is it Reyes? Your last name? Reyes. Thank you. Julio, thank you for coming today, and you know, I appreciate your words in terms of you know, frustration, because we understand and we know that we have to make sure that our boards and our councils and our commissions are fully staffed and functioning appropriately to serve the public. So we understand and appreciate those comments. So thank you.
Thank you. And is there anything about the race, RACE? No? Okay, I'm going to move on. We now have information out publicly so that there is a way for the public. They have multiple ways to communicate, is that right?
That's right, and nothing left on our agenda
nothing's
except
on the
for
agenda.
adjournment.
Is there anything else anybody would like to address at this time? I would move to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is to adjourn.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye. All those
Aye.
opposed, nay. There are no nays. We are adjourned.